This is my word problem analysis by Perla Rodriguez. The people I chose to do my word problems were my sister and my little nephew. These are the standards I thought fit best for my word problems, which is for second grade level. The first standard talked about adding and subtracting word problems using multiple step problem involvement situations to add and subtract them. The second was to use addition and subtracting with 20 using multiple strategies. The third one talked about place value and operate. My four word problems were, the first one was Miss Smith took her first grade class to the zoo last week. The students got to see 5 Asian elephants, 10 African elephants. How many elephants did the class get to see in total? The second one is if the zoo had three monkeys, 8 snakes, had one lion that were double the amount, had lions that were the double the amount of the monkeys. How many animals in total does the zoo have? The third one is Miss Smith had 25 students in her class. She had the school prepare 28 lunch bags. How many were left of the lunch bags? The fourth one is the zoo had about 500 animals in total. They moved 250 animals to the new zoo next door. How many animals were left in the old zoo? Here's word problem, and if you decoded the terms to make it easier for him to understand, he added 5 plus 10, but grouped the numbers to make them smaller by breaking them down for him to be able to do smaller portion of numbers, which he made it easier for him to add. On the other hand, my sister did regular old-fashioned addition, just added 5 and 10 straight down, which she eventually got 15. For a second word problem, my nephew added 3 plus 8 plus 2, which the 2, he thought it was, I said double the amount, which he didn't understand that part, so he thought it was 2, so he added the 2 to 3 and 8, which he eventually ended up with 13. Where on the other hand, my sister knew what double the amount was, so she times 3 times 2, which is equal 6, then she added the 6, 3, and 8 together to equal 17. For the third word problem, my little nephew had really hard trouble understanding what numbers to put because he didn't know what 28 and 25 were in word. He didn't know what the numbers were, so he took a long time trying to do that one, but he ended up just skipping it and moving on to the next one. Or on the other hand, my sister knew what 28 meant and 25 meant, so she wrote it down and subtracted and did mentally did the subtraction in her head, and she got 3. For the fourth word problem, my nephew subtracted way different than what I remember ever subtracting. He had 500 and took 250 from it, but he canceled out the zeros from each one, so he ended up with the 50 and the 25, and then subtracted 50 from 25, which gave him 25, but then added back the 0, so which would equal the answer of 250. Where my sister knew what half of 500 was, so she ended up just putting 250 in the answer. Overall, I noticed that depending on the type of generation or the math you were taught, students do math way different, especially older generations to newer students, like doing the Common Core. Students do different math strategies and learn in a different way than what I was used to. And this is an example of their work they both did on the worksheets. And this is the end.